The sun was just beginning to set over my sprawling lakeside mansion, casting golden reflections across the water. I had been looking forward to a quiet evening, sipping a drink on the veranda and watching the loons glide across the lake. But of course, peace rarely lasted when HOA Karen was around. Karen had always been the self-appointed watchdog of the neighborhood, an HOA president with delusions of grandeur and a penchant for unnecessary drama. That day, she stormed onto my property, clipboard in hand, her eyes blazing with righteous indignation. "You need to leave. You're violating community rules," she barked. I raised an eyebrow, leaning casually against the railing. "Interesting, because according to my records, this is my property, Karen. All of it. In fact, I technically own the entire county. So unless you have an eviction notice signed by the governor, I think I'll stay." Her jaw dropped. She looked ready to call the cops again. But this time, I stayed silent and let her fury simmer. Minutes later, she did exactly what I expected. She dialed 911 and reported a trespassing homeowner refusing to comply with HOA regulations. 2 police cars screeched onto my driveway, lights flashing. Officers jumped out, hands on their belts, scanning the impressive estate. Karen pointed dramatically at me, as if to say, "See, he's the problem." I smiled politely and handed the lead officer a small stack of documents. "Here's the county deed, the property tax records, and the official map confirming my ownership of everything from the lake to the tree line across the valley. Feel free to check." The officer blinked, glanced at the papers, and then back at me. "Ma'am, are you saying you own this entire area?" "Precisely," I said, taking a sip of my drink. "And while I appreciate your enthusiasm, I'm legally allowed to be here, and so are my guests." Karen's face turned beet red. She stammered, fuming, but the officers politely escorted her off the property. She muttered something about power abuse, and next time this will be handled differently. But I just waved from the veranda, enjoying the lake's calm waters and the sound of her retreating footsteps. That evening, as the sun sank fully behind the hills, I realized something. Life was far more peaceful when you had the legal upper hand and an HOA president who had no idea what she was truly up against. By the time night fell, the mansion was quiet once more, the only sound the gentle lapping of the lake and the distant hoot of an owl. Karen might try again, but one thing was certain. I owned more than just property. I owned the patience, the peace, and the privilege of being untouchable.